Hi, welcome to this webinar where we'll be discussing how to break through disinformation on social media with paid and organic strategies. To better understand how to tackle disinformation online, we will be looking at how it spreads to set some realistic expectation and understand human behavior. Then we will look at user behaviors online and how content is related to reach and engagement. We will then move on to organic strategy, which is creating snackable content, discussing the 6 elements of snackable content, and look at some examples. After that, we will move on to paid strategy and look into how does Facebook and Instagram advertising work, the 3 steps you can follow to launch a successful campaign on Ads Manager, what are the key elements of a good ad in terms of creative and copy, followed by some examples. And then we will have a brief look into Facebook policies, and we will end the session with ads reporting. So how does misinformation spread on social media? The first thing we need to look at to understand how it spreads is by understanding how the algorithms of social platforms work. All of the major social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube use something that they call a deep learning algorithm. That algorithm prioritizes content with prior engagement, which means that the more initial engagement posts get, the algorithm will take this as an indication that this is good content and will start showing it organically to more people on their feed or their timeline. The reason why they do that is that these platforms believe that users are more likely to stick around and engage if they see a content that already has some engagement, compared, of course, to content that hasn't. The second important point is that humans are more likely to react to content or posts that tap into their existing grievances, biases, and beliefs. This explains why inflammatory content will get quick engagement. This will then, of course, give an indication to the platforms that this is an engaging content, and the algorithm will then prioritize it on people's timeline and feed. A real-life example that illustrates how these human biases happen took place in 2018 during the Toronto attack. In the chaotic aftermath of the attack, Natasha, a very well-known CBC journalist, published 2 competing eyewitness accounts on Twitter. One account, which turned out to be inaccurate, identified the attacker as angry and Middle Eastern. And another account, which was accurate, identified him as white. This is the tweet you see on the screen, just because the previous tweet, of course, was eventually removed. The initial tweet describing the attacker as angry and Middle Eastern received far more engagement than the accurate one in the roughly 5 hours after the attack. More than that, the tweet with the correct information, did not perform much better even 24 hours, even after it was confirmed that it was actually a white person. So this is one real example of how human biases also contribute to the spread of misinformation. Another key aspect is information overload. To illustrate this, we take an example of Andy. When the pandemic hit, Andy was worried about contracting COVID-19. He usually relies on trusted friends and colleagues for information. While surfing on social media, he sees a post that says that the pandemic fears are overblown. Initially, he dismisses the idea. Then the hotel where he works actually closes its doors, and with his job at risk, he starts to wonder how serious the threat from the virus really is. No one he knows has died after all. While surfing online, he then sees an article posted by a colleague of his that says that COVID-19 has been created by Big Pharma in collusion with corrupt politicians. This really resonates with Andy's distrust of the government. He then decides he wants to join an online Facebook group of people who are at fear or risk losing their jobs. And he soon finds himself asking, like many of them, what pandemic? Several of his new friends are planning to attend the rally demanding the end to lockdown. He decides he wants to join them. At the end of the day, when his sister asks him about the rally, Andy shares the conviction that has now become part of his identity: COVID is a hoax. Another major contributor to the spread of misinformation are bots and/or automated accounts that impersonate human users. These greatly reduce the quality of the information in the social network. So based on research investigating this, we can understand that when less than 1% of human users follow bots, the information quality is high. When it's just higher than that 1%, the information quality is significantly reduced. That's how much bots and fake accounts can really impact the quality and, as a result, accuracy of information that is being shared on social networks. So what does this all mean in the overall picture of how misinformation spreads on social media? We can't really change the algorithm of social platforms, but we can understand how they work, so we can really work around it. And it's also important to stay updated on these constant changes because they happen more often than we think. Another important point to highlight here is that content vacuum from trusted sources allows for misinformation or misleading posts to take hold. So it's important to be proactive with content, not only reactive by debunking misinformation. So creating good quality and authentic content that is easy to read and understand is really key here, while keeping in mind the impact of bots and how misinformation or disinformation is amplified. This brings us to a discussion on user behavior on social platforms and the different content formats and how they engage these users. Users online these days have a decreasing attention span, which means it's becoming harder to grab their attention on social media platforms. There is a saturation of content on all of these platforms, some good quality and a lot of bad quality content. Users also check these platforms from many devices. They have their phones, laptop, tablets, not to forget about all the different apps they have on their phones. So it's really becoming harder to reach and to engage people in a saturated content world on social platforms. Also, when we look at content formats and how that relates to engagement on these platforms, for example, in this graph that dates from 2020, but it highlights that different content formats generate different levels of engagement with users on social media platforms. So you see here that images are more popular, it's followed by videos, and then a text-based post and stories. Of course, these have changed a little bit since Instagram introduced like Reels and more content formats, but the main message is there. Different content formats engage different users. With all of that, it's important to really focus on creating what we call thumb-stopping content. So that content that grabs people's attention for a second or two. That means you have a window of 1 second to hold their attention. Now, of course, there are many strategies that you can use to do that. One of them is illustrated in this image of a dog. But to combine high-value information and thumb-stopping content, that usually means what we call snackable content. So that's the main organic strategy we will be discussing today. What is snackable content and how to succeed at it? Snackable content is not really well defined in marketing, but the main agreement on what it is that it is content that it's designed to be easy for readers to read, consume, and share, which means easy to snack on. So we have a vague or general definition of snackable content, but really what defines something as snackable or not are 6 elements in the content piece itself. The first element is the headline. We have talked about how users' lack of focus and attention online. So a good headline really grabs their attention. It triggers their curiosity. It can take also the form of a list, like 6 reasons why you should get a good night's sleep or things like that. So the first element is the headline. The second element is the visual. So when people are scrolling, they tend to notice the image first before reading the text. So your image should reflect your main message and resonate with your target audience. As a result, this will increase the click-through rate if you're sharing a link or if you want people to watch a video. It also forces us to reduce word count on the image, which really is a much better way to promote through an image, less than through text. The third element is the branding and design of the content. You might not think that this is a very relevant point here, but the branding is really important to build that subconscious awareness in the user's mind. They automatically start to recognize your content from your fonts, logo, colors, and the overall style of your posts. That actually helps them stop scrolling if you build a relationship with them, and they tend to find your content quite interesting and engaging. Another element which is very important is the format, such as, for example, Instagram carousel. You can turn long form content into a series of posts that turns into a carousel, or even have a numbered list as well into like 7 reasons why, and each post is a different, each image is a different part of the carousel. You can use also infographic, graphs, short reels, or videos. These are all engaging in their format. But again, the format on its own does not make a piece of content a snackable content. So it's recommended to mix content formats and think of repurposing long form articles into carousel, text-based videos, or reels as well. So this way you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you have to come up with a content idea. Also, when creating snackable content, you need to think of minimizing the steps required to sharing it as well. Sometimes just having one click too many may prevent the audience from sharing it at all. That also means customizing the same content for the different platforms you are sharing it to, making it easier to share, and also including a call to action, such as share now or tag a friend who really needs to read this. Once they share it, this is all, of course, organic reach, and as marketers call it, earned content. The last element in the list of 6 elements of snackable content is testing and tracking. Remember, those are general recommendations, but your audience may prefer different formats or approaches, and they may resonate with content differently. So make sure you test different elements, track reach and engagement, and share, and make adjustment to your content strategy accordingly. Now let's look at some examples. The first example here is from the Kyiv Independent on their Twitter account. What is really interesting about this piece of snackable content is their use of consistent branding. They post the same post with updated numbers every week. The infographic format really simplifies the understanding of a complicated topic, but also the headline is really attention-grabbing. The success of the snackable content is evident from the number of retweets, quote retweet, and likes. Another example of snackable content is this video or reel from Bloomberg. I've added the link in the slide so you can see it, but I'm not going to open it right here, right now. So the main elements I want to highlight here is the simple branding. They use the same font in a black on white background, really, really absolutely simple. But they also ask an interesting question that triggers curiosity and engages you to watch the video till the end. This video got a lot of likes, but also most likely shares and saves on Instagram, which are very important to get earned content on the platform. Last point on this is that in the caption description, you will notice that they have added tap on the link in the bio to read more about these 5 charts, which means that this link actually takes you back to a longer form content. The last example is not from the media background, but from a copywriter, the copy posse. There are so many things we like about this snackable content piece. For me, it's important that she uses a carousel format, which is very, very engaging on Instagram. She also uses consistent branding with a numbered list as a headline and a big font and a real image. That's her, that's the copy posse. Finally, the CDA is smart. To get people to swipe left, she just uses let's go. Of course, it's a series of multiple images, but she has like different kind of themes that she uses for snackable content. So if you're interested in more examples, you can check her Instagram account. So this covers the organic strategy to creating snackable content to reach and engage people. Just remember, use colors, powerful design, and consistent branding to build awareness with your audience. Try infographics to illustrate complicated data and keep text and the image to a minimum. And really focus on using powerful text and copy. Remember to always test different content formats, keep videos short and to the point, because you have the first 1 or 2 seconds to really grab the attention of your audience and get them to see or view more of your video. Remember to track engagement levels for your snackable content to know what's really working with your audience and what you could do better. Now let's move on to the bait strategy, which is to advertise on social. Because we now understand the limits of organic content and its reach on social media platforms, there is an increasing need to promote high quality and factual content on social platforms. Facebook organic reach has been declining significantly since 2012, from 15% till about 1% right now. This is if you're really good at content. Today, 1% of your followers will see your content. This is because of a few reasons. One is the increasing number of people and pages on Facebook and the decreasing content value. So Facebook has to prioritize what content to show its user, and it can't show them everything. But also not to forget that advertising is Facebook's main source of income. So they want to push more people to advertise. Instagram, however, has been relatively better at engaging followers than Facebook. But in the past years, organic reach on Instagram dropped by about 43%, which might indicate a change in the algorithm, an increase in the quantity of content on the platform, and more competition with Instagram with other platforms like TikTok. That all brings up to the reality of the limit of organic reach on Facebook and Instagram, but also other platforms, which makes it important to use advertising on social platforms to fight misinformation and reach your goals and objectives. But also with advertising, you can specifically target people who need to see, read, and engage or share your messages, which at times might be different from your current followers. So how does Facebook and Instagram advertising work? Basically, the way the ads work is similar to an auction to determine the best ad to show to a person at any given time. You know, there is a limited amount of ads that Facebook can show to a user while keeping the experience on Facebook smooth and enjoyable. The auction makes sure that the more relevant the ad, the less it will cost and the higher the results. This is why we improve the targeting you do on advertising. You might find better results, reach a better target audience, and improve as general the impact of your ad. So the right ad setup by selecting the best ad objectives depending on your goals and the content format is very important to save time and money while running your ads. This is also a question that comes quite often in terms of whether it is better to boost directly from the page or to run ads through Ads Manager. The main advantage of running ads through Ads Manager is the targeting options you get, but also the level of customization of the ad design itself, depending on which placements you want to use or where you want to show your ads. But that really is a question to how advanced you think you are with advertising. You can start with boosting posts through the page and then move to Ads Manager. So that's a table that clearly states the differences. You can do language targeting, use custom audiences, schedule the ads, and more on Ads Manager. The reason why people usually avoid Ads Manager is it looks harder to use, but actually it's quite user-friendly and eventually you'll get used to it quite fast. So to launch a campaign on Ads Manager, you need to complete 3 steps that are related to the campaign structure: campaign, ad set, and ad. Under each campaign, you can have more than one ad set, and under each set, more than one ad. We will go through each step by step, and it's going to become much clearer once we cover that. So the first step is to set your campaign objective at the campaign level. This objective will help Facebook understand exactly what you want to achieve and optimize for it. So you can choose from 3 different categories of objectives. You have awareness, that helps you build awareness for your cause. You have consideration, which are objectives that encourage people to learn more about you and who you are and engage with you. And conversion, objectives that encourage people who are interested in your cause to do something about it. Let's look more in depth at what these are. So for example, if you choose the traffic objective, your ad will be optimized to get people to visit a destination on or off Facebook, such as, for example, going to your website, your application, or your Facebook Messenger conversation. So choosing the right objective will help Facebook find people who, for example, usually watch videos or engage with the type of content you are promoting, and so on. This is why we talk about the importance of selecting the right campaign objective. So under awareness category, you have 2 main objectives, brand awareness and reach. Brand awareness usually increases people's awareness of your business, brand, or service. This is done by using a very proprietary algorithm that Facebook has to increase brand awareness. If you choose reach, the Facebook will show the ad to as many people as possible in your target audience. So it will increase the number of people your content or your ad actually reaches. Under consideration, you have also different types of objectives. You have traffic, which, as I mentioned before, will send people to a destination. You have engagement, so Facebook will go and find people who are more likely to engage with your content. You have app installs if you want people to download your application. You also have video views, so this is specifically to get people to watch your videos by optimizing the audience reach to people who enjoy watching videos from the type of content that you're sharing. You also have lead generation, so this helps you collect leads for a business or a cause or organization. So the lead generation will open within Facebook, and it will automatically be populated by the information that's publicly available to Facebook. So it simplifies the lead generation format. And also under consideration, you have messages. So you can connect with people on Messenger, Instagram Direct, or WhatsApp. So you can build a communication or relationship with these audiences. Under conversion, you have 3 types of ads. You have the conversions, of course, if you want people to subscribe to a newsletter or to buy something from your website or to donate. You have catalog sales. This is mostly a business-related type of conversion. So you can upload different products that you have, and Facebook will show people different products depending on what they're searching on Facebook. And you have store traffic. This is it actually promotes a physical location to get to target people who are nearby that physical location. So a few tips when you're setting up your campaign objectives. You can create as many campaigns as you have objectives. If you have a video and you want to get people to watch it, but also you want people to engage with it, you can launch 2 separate campaigns with 2 different objectives, one with video views, one with engagement as an objective. Another point is to make sure to name your campaign something relevant to the campaign itself, so you can easily track it in Ads Manager. Finally, when you're launching the campaign, you may want to select lowest cost as a campaign bid strategy, as this is the easiest for advertising beginners. After setting up your campaign objective at the ad set level, you can select your target audience, your budget. You can choose here between daily budget or lifetime budget. That is really the amount you want to spend over the selected duration. The campaign schedule, and the placements, which is where you want your ads to show. So when you're choosing your placement, you can select either automatic placement, allowing Facebook to do this for you, or manual, and you can select whether you want the ad to show on Newsfeed, Instagram, on Messengers, in Stories, and so on. This is important, for example, if your ad is in a square format and it will show up as cutoff in Stories. So you might want to remove Stories and customize the story ad with a vertical format. That also can be done at the ad set level. A few things when it comes to the ad set level. You want to refine your audience by adding interest depending on who you are targeting exactly with this ad. Remember, the more relevant the target audience to the ad, the lower the price and the higher the results. You can also narrow your audience and exclude people by interest to reach a more targeted audience. Finally, when it comes to language selection, it's recommended you only add language selection if the language you are using in the ad is not the main language in the country you are targeting. Finally, at the ad level, this is where you select the content or the ad you want to promote. That includes the format, whether it's a photo, video, link, etc. The caption you have above it and the call to action you want to use. The CTA or the call to action options is not really available for all ad formats. So depending on the format or the objective that you have, you will see if you have a CTA or not available. You can select a post or a video as an ad from the post you already have on the page, or you can create a new one from within Ads Manager. But keep in mind, the more text you have on the image, the higher the cost of the ad and the lower the result. Finally, when you're choosing a call to action button, if you do, make sure it is aligned with your campaign objective and encourages your target audience to take action that really matters to you. So similar to the main guidelines of creating snackable content, your ad design and copy should also follow a few guidelines to be successful, such as have a bespoke copy, eye-catching design, and a strong call to action. These are the three elements to consider when designing an ad. Remember, mobile users spend an average of 1.7 seconds browsing an individual content or post. The idea is you want to use an image that catches the reader's attention. You want to use a copy that provides additional context to what you are sharing actually in the post, and the call to action to encourage them to take the next step, such as click or comment. A few tips to keep in mind when you're picking an image: use a high quality image. You don't want it to be blurry. It is best if you use a real image and not a stock photo. People really can tell the difference. Make sure to pick a related image. And if you decide to add text to the image, of course, try to keep it to a minimum. If you go for a video for your ad, it's important to use the first seconds to hook the audience. Avoid putting your logo or an intro in the beginning, but instead use something intriguing or surprising by either asking a question or having an interesting statement. This is key to engaging people to watch a video. Also, of course, try to keep it as short as possible, just because we have already seen that people really have very short attention spans. Remember to also use a relevant thumbnail. This is the image that you show before the video starts. And finally, shoot for your videos for sound off, for example, by including subtitles, because many people these days have their phones either on silent or have removed automatic sounds for privacy. So this is it for covering the basics on how to launch an ad campaign from Ads Manager. Now let's look at some examples from organizations. This is an ad from Purify H2O to get more donations, which is either set up with an objective for traffic or conversion. If they selected traffic, then the main objective would be to get people to click on the ad and go to the website. And if they selected conversion, it is optimized to get people to do the conversion and donate. If they set it up correctly, they must have picked conversions, of course, but that would require that they have set up something called the Facebook Pixel to track when people are actually donating as a result of the ad. As a choice of a CTA, they use Donate Now to encourage the donation. So what we like about the ad is the headline, which is short and emotional. Give water, give life. It is also reinforced by the image, which I assume is a real image. And they also use an aspect of urgency by highlighting in the copy the final 2 days to donate. Another ad setup, which is probably for traffic, by using a video creative, which means that the objective is to get clicks to the website if they set up for traffic, and not to get people to view the video. The videos that they use are testimonials from beneficiaries with the caption and the CTA. The CTA is learn more. What we like about this example is the use of a video. It shows emotions and builds trust with the good choice of thumbnails. What really could be improved about this ad is the fact that the headline is long and a little dull. So the caption, the text above the video. These are examples of ads with engagement or awareness objectives. Why they did well in these ads is the choice of real images in the ads, because they are promoting the different organizations and the communities they serve. And they are tagging their Facebook pages as well. What could be improved about these ads is the caption. It's important to make it shorter and less overwhelming. With the use, of course, they use a lot of hashtags. Finally, the copy is too descriptive and frankly a little dull. The last example here is for ads with engagement or traffic objectives. They use a variety of snackable content formats such as quotes, facts, and infographics. What I really like about these ads is the consistent branding in all of the designs. They use different content formats, the fact that the captions are short and engaging, and in one of the posts, they actually have a CTA that says, let them vote. So after you launch your ads, it goes through an approval process, and sometimes it doesn't get approved because it doesn't abide by the Facebook policies. So this is a quick table of what will not be approved by Facebook. You can also check the link to see what other policies they have and how you can avoid having your ad rejected. But the table already gives you a general idea, but there are, of course, more than one example under each point. So you can visit the link to see more details if you're interested. Finally, after your ad starts running, you can monitor their progress in Ads Manager. At the campaign level, you can track the results like post engagement or clicks, the reach, impressions, and the cost per result. The cost per result is the cost per objective or the main campaign objective you have set. So if you set for engagement, then you get cost per engagement. If you have video views, then you get the cost per video view. You can also see the amount spent and when the campaign ends. One important criteria or indicator to check is the frequency of the ad, which means how many times the same person saw your ad. You don't want to have a very high frequency because that means that people are seeing your ad more than once and might be felt as a little bit overwhelming, and they can maybe report to you or just have a bad idea of you. At the ad set level, you can track the budget and the amount spent to make sure your ads are actually delivering. Sometimes that will happen as well. If you have a very narrow target audience or a very small budget, your ads might not deliver, and this is the way you can track them as well. And finally, at the ad level, you can make sure your cost per result is low for each and one of your individual campaigns. This is it for this webinar. Thank you for watching it, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Good luck.